Hello everyone, Onyago Chukwemeke here again, a concerned Nigerian. That's what we are for now. What I want to talk to you today about is, excuse me, what will happen if we don't restructure now? What I'm about to say to you, I've always said so to my friends and people close by or around me, but I've decided to start sharing this content with everyone. We need to start speaking up about important issues. And it boils down to our generation. Our fathers did their best. Now it falls down to us. We must take responsibility now. Enough of playing around, enough of being carefree, excuse me, because the future is ours. Barack Obama once said that we borrow our nation from the upcoming generation. I'm paraphrasing now. And we'll have to give it back to them at some point. We see it playing out. The generations who fought for independence gave something beautiful, that is manageable, to our own fathers. So those in the 60s gave a country they fought for to those in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah, those in the 50s and the 60s fought for independence, fought, tooth and nail, and they gave an independent country that is working to our fathers in the 70s and in the 80s. And look at what our fathers are giving to us. You now see that you borrow your country from the generations unborn, and you have to give it back to them. So what are we going now to give to our own children? The responsibility has fallen upon us, and we must act now. We can no longer shy away from this. What will happen to us if we don't restructure now? We have been pushing it. We have been putting it under the carpet for some time now. Our leaders have been using it as a campaign mechanism to win the people's attention and to win the people's trust. And when they get into power, they shove it under the carpet. Look at where we are today. The wanton killings, the economy is battered, people are living like destitutes, all of that. More will happen. All of these are a trajectory to what is really going to happen, the big thing that is going to happen, that will give the final blow. Right now, people are leaving the country in droves, in their millions. Statistics show that more than 30 million Nigerians are outside the country. That's a huge number. That's the population of some countries. More than 30 million people are outside the country. If we don't restructure and we continue in this situation we find ourselves, more people are going to leave the country. That's the first thing that's going to happen. It's already happening, but it will happen more. People will continue to live by crook or by means. It will become the last and the only option people have. And when that happens, it will force other nations that Nigerians are going into, countries like Canada, US, UK, Australia, and other countries, to bring up policies to protect themselves from us. How and why? Because when you don't check your population, you exhaust your resources easily. Like Nigeria, we pride ourselves as the most populous country in Africa, the giant of Africa, but not knowing that it's to our own detriment. When you don't check your population, The population outweighs the resources. So you don't have resources to cater for the population. I don't want to go into statistics because I'm not a statistician or an economist. But these are some of these things we should know. Excuse me. So these countries would push back. This is the final blow. So you know, all of us who have this Jackpot syndrome, it's not a bad idea. It's not. I mean, what would you have anybody do? Sitting in that country? Nobody will want to. So leaving the country is not a bad idea, but we should not forget home. Those of us who are out of the country should always think home and how to solve the problem, how to synergize, how to support. So we live physically, but in our mind, we have home to think of. As for me, there's no other thing I think about other than Nigeria. I don't know why. I can't help myself. I find myself engulfed with how to solve Nigeria's problem. The problem of Nigeria has overwhelmed me, has overtaken, or I don't know. It's always on my mind. It's there for a reason. So leaving the country is actually to get empowered and see how we can fix it. We can't run away from it. A lot of people give you stories of, Nigeria don't finish. Hey, nothing if you do. I'm gonna live your life. Man, it's all coming to bite all of us in the ass. Like I'm saying, I'm still on what will happen if we don't restructure. And number one is, like I've said, surge. There will be surge in other countries. Nigerians, 200 million people, predominantly youthful population, will move legally, illegally, by crook or by means, through rivers, through air, through having your documents, through illegal means. People will troop into other countries. And they're already doing it. So like I said, some of these things are already happening. You know? And these nations would want to protect their people. They want to protect their resources. You know what they will say? You know what? We're no longer having you. We don't want Nigerians anymore. And that is why you see that red list in many nations always include Nigerians. Nigeria is a country that's always on the red list of many nations, of those that they do not want in their country. So they are going to shut the door on Nigerians. They must well resort in pushing back on people who are already in their country by saying, you know what, go back to your country. I go to pepper them. They will revolt at some point. Because their jobs, you will come to take it. They have to get that for their family. It's the way the world works. So how would they revolt? By asking you to go home? So you see why the Jackpot syndrome is not so sustainable? At the end of the day, it's not so sustainable. It can only work for a time. That's one. Two, the problems we have that we have refused to address now via restructuring, which is the best option, would cause us to be more divided. Nigeria is not a united country. Don't be deceived. We are not one. Let's be blunt. Let's be frank. We are not one. There are many nations in Nigeria. I believe a lot of people have said a lot about these things, and I don't want to bother myself or bother you by repeating them. You already know them. If you don't know, it means you're living under the rock. You should be abreast with things that are happening. You already know these things, so I don't want to. I just want to focus on certain things right now. We can't continue to deceive ourselves. We are not one. We can never be one, but we can work together. We don't have to be one to work together. The countries in other places are working together. They hate themselves. But I don't want to start mentioning names. Who know, go no, you know? Yeah, but they're working together. It's about agreements, about policies, and respecting one another. And the only way Nigeria can work the way it is to restructure it in a way that is unique to us. So, if we keep ignoring this restructuring, it will expand the division the more. Our problems will not unite us. People think Nigerians will come together at one point to protest, to rally. That's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen because we don't have the same priorities. We don't have the same interests. The realities are not the same for everybody in Nigeria, especially between the North and the South. The realities are different. The ideology is different. The lifestyle and all of that is different. For example, you can see that there are a lot of checkpoints, police checkpoints in the South. There are a lot of police brutality in the South compared to the North. That's a different reality. So the North can never understand or feel the hurt that you feel in the South under police brutality. And that is why you see that the NSAS protest is more of the South. It's more of Southern campaign than it was in the North. The protest was more in the South because that police situation is not in the North. You see, so this is one of the examples for you to know that the realities are different. And if the realities are different, the responses will be different. So there's never going to be a time where every youthful person in Nigeria will come together to say, you know what, let us pull out our leaders. No. There's always going to be religious and ethnic sentiments. And that's always going to be the dividing line between us. That's always going to stand in the way. And that is because it is there. You say leaders use these things to separate us. But the truth is that the leaders are using what is there. We have refused to accept this reality, and they know that it is there and they're using it against us. If it's not there, it won't work against us. It's working against us because it is there. The ethnic and religious division is there. We have to respect that and see how to work with it. We are not the same people. However, we can, like in a house, we don't have to live in the same room. We can live in the same house. A has his own room, B has her own room, C has their own room. But flatmates, not roommates. Now we are roommates, we can be flatmates. You get that? You get the analogy? That's what I'm trying to say. So the issue is this. If we do not restructure, they say if you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. For you to succeed, you have to be deliberate. But you don't have to do anything to fail. Just fold your hands, you'll fail. Nigerians are folding their hands. We have continued to give ourselves to natural causes. Anything that won't happen, make it happen. You know, God did this kind of things. Pray. What that brings is it brings calamity and catastrophe, because nature doesn't have the right way to fix our dynamic problems. We have to be deliberate about fixing them. So restructuring is important. If we don't restructure, people will begin to pull out from the union. More. We're already seeing it. Like I said, some of this we are seeing it, but it will intensify. People begin to pull out from their union. From this union. In their activities, in their all of that. It's not going to unite us. The Yorubas will begin to incline themselves and align themselves with their ethnic issues naturally. The Igbos will begin to incline themselves in their ethnic issues naturally. The North will want to also do that. And that might result to a conflict. That war we are trying to avoid. Because at some point, some people will still want to keep us together. And the other groups are saying we are not going to stay. We are pulling away. And because of that friction, that war we are trying to hide, we are running away from, we'll fight it. That's the issue. So please and please, if we don't restructure, other nations will push us back until we are locked in to this mess we refuse to fix. It will be too hard for us. If we don't restructure, we automatically give into division. Natural cause. If we are not deliberate to take measures to fix our problems, natural causes will take effect, which is people will begin to pull out, and it will eventually lead to division, separation. And what will happen with that separation is that conflict will arise. Armed struggle will arise. Because people are saying, you are not listening, I'm going to go. This one I say, you are not listening, I'm going to go. And you are saying, some other people are saying, you must stay. And because of that, friction will come. I told a friend, we were saying that, he said, if you see war, you go feed this and do that one. I told him, I said, you see, some of these countries that are going to war, they didn't plan for it. They went into it because they no longer had a choice. That's what leads to conflict most times. Look at the killings in the north. Before you know it, the Middle Belt, they're not animals. They will pick up arms one day. Because we are delaying to address these issues. They'll pick up arms. And it will become a full-blown catastrophe. We need to restructure now. Enough of pushing it, hiding it under the carpet, campaigning with it, and doing nothing about it. In my video, which I did prior to now, before now, I talked about how we can start holding conferences and start talking about it. We don't need to wait for our leaders. Politicians are scheme makers. They know the system is failed. They know it's a failed state. They're just going to rip off from it. Maybe some other time I will explain to you why it looks like it's politicians against the people. It's not. It's a people problem. It's not a political, it's not a leadership problem. I think that'll be all for today. Share this video to your friends and loved ones. Let people start getting informed and the risk we face if we don't fix our problems. It's going to come on every one of us. The world is a harsh place. Running away will not make it easy. Travel if you have to travel. Travel if you have to travel. But know that it is not the solution. Know that, have that at the back of your mind. It is not the solution. Fixing the country is the solution. Restructuring will solve most of our problems. The North are running away from restructuring now. They're scared of it. I get that. Yes, they can be scared because of many things. They'll be landlocked. Yeah, they don't have any resources as such to develop the North. So keeping us like this is more beneficial to them. I get that. I understand how their situation is. But the truth is, you must also understand that you cannot keep all of us like this. This unitary system that we have has exhausted, has elapsed. We need to move forward. And the best bet that the North has is to restructure this country. Because if the country should divide, they will suffer a great deal. Restructuring this country will also still give them access to the sea. We give them access to funds to develop the North as well. My kind of idea of restructuring is not what we had in 1963, and 1960 to 1963 should be different. Because in 1960 to 1963, people were still scrabbling for the center, meaning there was something to share at the center. So that's why people are still interested. This time around, it should be different from what we had then. This time around, we should have the contributions should not just go to the center. It should be placed in our reserve. We should have like an IMF stuff. Okay, I'll talk about that some other time. The idea of restructuring, but right now it's about what will happen if we don't. That's what this is about. So please share. I'll see you some other time. God bless you.